Hello, everyone. Professor Carol Swain here to talk with you a little bit about the presidential campaign that's underway between Democrats and Republicans for the 2024 presidential election. And I've had many people ask me if I've endorsed a candidate or why I haven't endorsed former President Trump. And I can tell you that I tend to as a person of faith, I'm always praying. I'm always trying to see how the Lord leads me. And I have not felt led to jump out there and endorse anyone. I can tell you that I really like Ron DeSantis and I like Donald Trump, as well as there are some things I like about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I think he's a fellow truth speaker and that he's more of a Republican than he is a Democrat. And so I'm certainly wishing him well in 2024 and hoping that he doesn't share the Kennedy curse, hoping that he will be safe and really encouraging people to pray for him and also pray for former President Donald Trump. And when we look at Trump, I've never seen a man so hated by the left. And I think it really has to do with the fact that he did call out the deep state. We know that the deep state is real and that our government is not the government that we thought it was. It was the ones that it is the government the framers warned us about, the government that they tried to draft a constitution to protect us from, because we have this situation where the agencies that have been created, like the FBI, under the Department of Justice, the CIA, that these agencies are interfering in elections, and they're not just doing evil across the world, they're doing some evil in America. And when I think about the January 6th prisoners, those are our brothers and sisters, our neighbors. These are innocent people pretty much that went to Washington thinking that they were going to exercise their right to protest. After all, they had watched Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all these other organizations protesting. They thought they would be able to protest, and they ended up entrapped. And many of them, all of them pretty much, it's just a horrible situation, but many of them had never had a run-in with the law. And I think about myself that I was in D.C. on January 5th for a meeting at the White House, and I chose to go home because, hey, I'm just not a rally type girl. I like to know where the bathrooms are. I don't like to stand out in the cold. I don't like to stand out in the heat. God bless you if you do. I do participate in some rallies, but for the most part, I have to confess I'm a creature of comfort. I did not think it was something that I wanted to do, standing out in the freezing weather on January 6th. And so I went home. Had I not gone home, I might be among the January 6th prisoners, not because I would have entered the Capitol, but because people were targeted and people, they're innocent people that were caught up in that, and I could have been one of them. And there are many high-profile people that have suffered and they have had to spend their own money. And so I digress when I'm talking about this because we started off talking about the presidential contest. So let me get back to that. I have not endorsed a candidate. I've mentioned that I like DeSantis, and I like him because he's bold, he's courageous, he's articulate, he understands the left. It's refreshing and impressive what he's done in Florida. And with Donald Trump, we had so much prosperity under his leadership, despite all the harassment that he experienced from the government and from the agencies, and how the poor man has never had a day of peace since he came down that elevator. When he came down that elevator, and announced he was running for president, all hell broke loose, and it's never ended. And I don't know what will be the outcome, because with Trump, it seems like the Democrats are hell-bent on indicting him for something. They really want to put him in jail. If they fail at that and he continues to run for president, that his life could very well be in danger, because I don't put anything past the Trump haters, and I don't put anything past our government. And I hate saying that because I'm a person who loves America. If you ask me about Mike Pence, I would say he is the establishment candidate, that there are Democrats and Republicans that would love to have him be the Republican nominee and potentially president if the Democrats were to lose. If the Democrats were to lose, Pence would be seen as the best choice. The most hilarious candidate of all, in my mind, is Chris Christie. Words escape me to describe him. I'm not talking about physically, or I'm not going to crack any jokes about his eating habits or anything like that, but he's there as a spoiler. He's there just to harass Trump. And I think that's unfortunate that Republicans have people like that enter races just to do to do evil, I would say. The Democrats have too much control over the Republican candidates and who runs for office. For myself, some of the issues that are very important would be the Ukraine or Russia war. I am among the people who are not worshiping Zelensky. I believe that that conflict could have been settled a long time ago, and that our U.S. government is too involved in it. And I am an America First person in the sense that I believe that the next president of the United States will have his or her hands full focusing on the United States if our nation operated the way that it's supposed to operate. Unfortunately, you find that among the Republican candidates, they're not focusing on God, country, and family. They're focusing, for the most part, on attacking each other. They're not even attacking the other side, and some of them have even embraced some of the positions of the other side. I believe that's unfortunate, and I think that what is missing in this country is an emphasis on values, the Constitution, restoring the rule of law, making our nation state strong. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with loving your country. I'm having some difficulty loving mine right now. But nations were God's idea. He created nation states, and I think that we should focus on our nation states and also on having strong borders. And so that's my 2 cents. I'm very fortunate to live in a country where, at least it seems, for the time being, that we can get away with speaking with free speech. At least on paper and on the Constitution, we still have free speech, and I will exercise my free speech for as long as I can, and you should too. Thank you.